Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about a breathtaking chain of events that unfolds at the luxurious, yet suspicious Five Poppies resort, a place that hides far more than just fine dining, private beaches, and five-star suites. What begins as a routine deep-cover mission for Jocelyn Jacks and her partner Vaughn quickly spirals into a shocking rescue, an explosive revelation about Cain, and a dangerous confrontation that promises to shake Port Charles to its core. This is not just another spy operation, it's a story that tears the mask off one of Port Charles' most familiar faces. Joss and Vaughn's mission was sanctioned by Brennan himself, the shadowy figure pulling strings inside the WSB. Their cover was simple yet convincing, a glamorous couple enjoying a romantic getaway at one of the most exclusive resorts in the world. On the surface, Five Poppies catered to the world's elite, but intelligence suggested the resort might also be serving as a hub for clandestine deals, laundering money, and holding high-value captives. Vaughn, an operative who thrived on discipline and precision, wanted to focus on their assigned target-level guests, suspected of trafficking sensitive information. But Joss, newer to the field yet blessed with razor-sharp instincts, couldn't shake the feeling that the real story here was deeper, hidden beneath the polished floors and oceanfront views. Over several days, Joss began mapping the resort in her mind. She noticed the architectural layout didn't quite make sense, along hallways that led nowhere, restricted wings without clear functions, and staff members who avoided certain areas as though they didn't exist. One evening, while Vaughn mingled at a high-stakes poker table to extract intel, Joss shared her theory. The resort's public face was a facade for something darker. Vaughn dismissed her suspicions, suggesting she was reading too much into the opulent eccentricities of a high-end hideaway. But his casual dismissal only pushed Joss further toward independent action. Later that night, Joss ventured out alone, dressed like any resort guest enjoying a midnight stroll. She kept to the shadows, bypassing security cameras with the ease of someone who had learned from Jason Morgan himself how to move unseen. Eventually, she discovered a discreet service corridor tucked behind the kitchens. At the far end was a reinforced door partially hidden behind stacks of unused crates. A subtle draft whispered from beneath the frame, hinting at space beyond. Trusting her instincts, Joss produced a set of lockpicks she had concealed in her handbag despite Vaughn's orders not to carry unauthorized tools. With practiced precision, she worked the lock until it yielded, and the door creaked open to reveal a descending staircase. The air grew cooler and more stagnant with each step, and the faint hum of resort life faded into oppressive silence. At the bottom, she found herself in a windowless chamber, the walls lined with thick concrete. The room appeared empty until she noticed a heavy metal gate at the far end. Beyond it lay a small, dimly lit holding cell. At first, she thought it was unoccupied until she saw the rise and fall of a chest beneath a tattered blanket. Heart pounding, she crept closer. Then, a figure shifted, turning just enough for the light to catch his face. Her breath caught in her throat. It was Cain. For a moment, disbelief froze her in place. Drew had been living openly in Port Charles for over a year. How could he be locked away here? Slowly, his eyes opened, focusing on her in confusion before widening in recognition. "Joss," he rasped, his voice hoarse from disuse. She knelt by the bars, demanding to know how long he had been there and why no one knew. Drew's answer was as shocking as it was horrifying. He had been kidnapped and imprisoned at Five Poppies for over a year. The man living in Port Charles under his name was an impostor, a carefully crafted double, who had slipped into his life seamlessly. This revelation instantly reframed every strange shift in Drew's behavior that friends and family had quietly noted but never fully understood. The coldness, the unpredictability, the subtle but undeniable moral slide all made sense now. Joss's urgency skyrocketed. She assessed the cell door's lock and realized it wasn't overly complex, likely because its location was security enough. Within minutes, she had it open. Drew, weakened from captivity but determined to move, leaned heavily on her as they made their way back through the service corridor. Twice, they had to duck behind supply shelves to avoid patrolling guards. When they emerged into the night air, Vaughn was waiting, his face a mask of fury. He accused Joss of jeopardizing months of planning and compromising the mission entirely. But Joss, gripping Drew's arm protectively, fired back that no mission could ever be more important than rescuing a friend, especially when his life had been stolen by an imposter. Vaughn, bound by duty and unwilling to go rogue, refused to help them escape further. Joss improvised. She led Drew toward a maintenance dock she had noticed earlier in the week, where a small skiff was moored. Convincing the night watchman with a sizable bribe, she secured passage off the island. The boat cut silently across dark waters, the lights of Five Poppies shrinking into the distance. Drew sat quietly, processing the reality of his freedom, while Joss mentally prepared for the storm that would follow. In Port Charles, their arrival back home sent shockwaves through the community. Friends and family struggled to comprehend the truth that the man they had been interacting with for over a year was not Drew at all. The imposter's motives, methods, and true identity were suddenly the most urgent mysteries in town. For Joss, however, there was only one priority: confronting the fake Drew and exposing him for what he really was. The confrontation was inevitable. Word of Drew's return spread fast, and within days, the imposter found himself face to face with the man he had replaced. Tensions exploded instantly. The imposter, cornered and desperate, lashed out physically, triggering a brutal fight that Drew and Jason, Sonny, and several other allies. The truth was laid bare in front of everyone, the imposter's carefully constructed web unraveling in minutes. Yet the victory was bittersweet. Drew bore the physical and emotional scars of his captivity, and the knowledge that someone had worn his face, stolen his relationships, and tarnished his name cut deep. Still, his gratitude toward Joss was unwavering. She had risked her mission, her safety, and her standing in the WSB to save him. As for Five Poppies, the revelations about its hidden prison and criminal ties sparked an international investigation. Brennan's role in assigning Joss and Vaughn to the resort is now under scrutiny, raising uncomfortable questions about whether he knew Drew was there all along. In the weeks to come, Port Charles will grapple with the fallout. Trust has been shattered, alliances tested, and the community reminded that in a world of deception, even the faces you know best can hide the darkest secrets. And for Joss, the mission may have ended, but the war against those who orchestrated Drew's imprisonment has only just begun. Next, we will learn about the sizzling tensions and unexpected pairings that could turn Max Scorpio's casual BBQ into a powder keg of drama in Port Charles. In the ever-twisting saga of General Hospital, whispers of romance and rivalry are setting the stage for what might be an unforgettable gathering. At Max Scorpio's backyard bash, Ava Jerome, the art world maven with a history of bold moves and scandalous affairs that have kept her at the center of Port Charles gossip for years, from her tangled web with the Jerome crime family to her recent courtroom battles over custody of her daughter Avery cooled, make a surprise appearance as Cody Bell's +1. This potential development stems from their budding connection, sparked in the sun-drenched Quartermain stables, where Cody's rugged charm as a horse handler first caught Ava's eye amid her frustrations with ex-lovers and legal woes. Meanwhile, the guest list includes Molly Lansing Davis, whose simmering jealousy over Cody's affections has been building like a summer storm, especially after her recent emotional outbursts tied to family pressures, and her strained relationship with sister Christina. Felicia Scorpio, ever the gracious hostess with her own past as an adventurous private investigator who's navigated everything from amnesia plots to family reunions, extended invitations to both Ava and Molly, unknowingly laying the groundwork for fireworks amid the aroma of grilled burgers and the laughter of old friends. Cody Bell, the enigmatic newcomer who's been unraveling his own family secrets as Mac's long-lost son, initially balked at the BBQ invite upon learning Molly would be there. His hesitation rooted in an explosive encounter where she unleashed her frustrations on him during a chance meeting at Kelly's diner. That confrontation, fueled by Molly's mounting stress from her legal career ambitions and the fallout from her parents' turbulent history, Alexis Davis's battles with addiction, and Rick Lansing's manipulative returns, left Cody wary of stirring the pot further, especially as he's still adjusting to his place in the Scorpio clan after years of drifting through odd jobs and hidden identities. Unbeknownst to Cody, the real catalyst for Molly's sharp shift in attitude toward him is her sister Christina, Corinthos Davis, whose secretive schemes involving surrogacy complications and mob ties have indirectly poisoned the well, creating misunderstandings that Cody senses but can't quite pinpoint, much like the vague hunches that guided him through his rodeo days before landing in Port Charles. Despite his reservations, Felicia's persistent charm, honed from her day's charming suspects and allies, aliquot him down, convincing Cody to attend with promises of low-key fun and family bonding, perhaps even hinting at introducing him to more extended relatives who've heard tales of his adventurous past. Could this setup be the writer's clever blueprint for a showdown? that rivals General Hospital's most iconic clashes? Soap operas thrive on the chaos of social soirees, where seemingly innocent picnics or galas often erupt into revelations, betrayals, and physical altercations sink back to past events like the nurses' ball disasters, or holiday parties derailed by long-buried secrets, with Cody and Molly already on a collision course in the Scorpio backyard, complete with picnic tables laden with potato salad, and the distant hum of neighborhood kids playing. The air crackles with unspoken grudges. Molly's legal mind might be plotting ways to confront him about perceived slights, while Cody braces for awkward small talk amid the scent of charcoal smoke. The stakes skyrocket if Ava crashes the scene, her rival potentially transforming the relaxed vibe into a battleground of egos, especially given her flair for dramatic entrances that echo her gallery openings where art and intrigue collide. Fresh off her exasperation with Rick Lansing, whose slick lawyer tactics and on-again off-again romance have worn thin, after repeated cycles of charm and deception including his recent meddling in Lansing family affairs, that nearly cost Molly her composure. Eva is eager to dive deeper into her flirtation with Cody, their passionate interludes by the shimmering Quartermain pool, under the watchful eyes of estate staff and the rustle of manicured hedges, have broadcast their chemistry far and wide, with Ava boldly embracing the public display as a way to reclaim her independence. After years of being defined by mobster exes like Sonny Corinthos and custody wars that tested her maternal instincts, Ava's love for provocation, a trait sharpened by her survival in cutthroat art dealings and Jerome family power struggles, might lead her to seize the BBQ as the perfect venue to flaunt her new beau, particularly if Rick and his current flame Elizabeth Baldwin are mingling among the guests, their presence adding a layer of personal vendetta as Ava aims to demonstrate she's thriving without Rick's shadow looming over her. This scenario could catch Cody off guard, his internal conflict bubbling up as Ava spontaneously invites herself along, perhaps cornering him in the stables with a seductive whisper and a knowing smile that recalls their first stolen kiss amid hay bales and horse-tack. Cody's uncertainty stems from the covert seduction plot orchestrated by Christina, who enlisted him to distract Ava amid a tangled blackmail threat, involving incriminating photos from Ava's past indiscretions that could upend her gallery empire, and custody battles. Yet, beneath the ruse, Cody's genuine attraction to Ava is blossoming, beginning to uncover her layers of vulnerability, like her quiet regrets over lost loves and her fierce protectiveness toward Avery, which mirror his own hidden pains from a nomadic life, and the shock of discovering his Scorpio heritage. To maintain the facade, Christina's funding, which has provided him stability after years of financial scrapes, Cody can't afford to appear reluctant, especially as the plan has progressed smoothly, buying time until the blackmail storm passes, potentially involving interventions from figures like Sonny or Nina Reeves. Envision the scene unfolding at Mac's BBQ. Ava strides in arm with Cody, her designer outfit turning heads as she mingles with the crowd, her laughter mingling with the sizzle of steaks on the grill, while Molly watches from afar, her irritation boiling over into a potential meltdown that could involve hurled accusations, or a dramatic exit, exacerbated by her ongoing grief over lost pregnancies and sibling rivalries. This unexpected duo's entrance might not only ruffle Molly's feathers, but also spark ripples among other attendees, like Felicia exchanging knowing glances with Mac or Elizabeth navigating awkward tensions with Rick, turning what was meant to be a simple summer gathering into a hotbed of revelations that could alter alliances and ignite new storylines in the weeks ahead. Next, we will learn about the pulse-pounding previews for the week of August 11, 2025, packed with international intrigue, shocking resurrections, and high-stakes rescues in the sun-soaked landscapes of Croatia. The latest teaser from General Hospital is generating massive buzz among fans, promising a week of edge-of-your-seat action that transports key characters far from the familiar chaos of Port Charles to the exotic shores of a Croatian resort. At the forefront is Jason Morgan, the stoic enforcer with a history of globetrotting missions and near-death escapes, who touches down in this Mediterranean hotspot on a covert operation that's equal parts personal and perilous. His arrival coincides with a brutal assault on undercover agent Vaughn, whose alliance with Jocelyn Jacks has already stirred up waves in the World Security Bureau's shadowy world of espionage. Adding to the frenzy, Jocelyn herself is forced into a do-or-die moment where she draws her weapon, her quick reflexes honed from years of navigating family dangers, like the threats from her stepfather Sonny Corinthos's mob entanglements. Meanwhile, the enigmatic Britt Westburn, long believed to have met a tragic end after her valiant battle with Huntington's disease, and a final act of heroism against a deadly foe, encounters a ghost from her past that could unravel everything. This clip masterfully builds suspense, blending high-octane chases with emotional reunions, all set against the backdrop of azure waters and luxurious villas that hide deadly secrets. Kicking off the preview with a roar of rotor blades, Jason Morgan makes a dramatic entrance as a sleek helicopter descends over the rugged Croatian coastline, its shadow dancing across ancient stone walls and olive groves that whisper tales of hidden treasures and betrayals. He dashes toward a waiting black sedan, its tinted windows reflecting the golden sunlight, where a discreet driver swings open the door, ushering him into the plush leather interior with the efficiency of a seasoned operative. Settling in, Jason gazes out at the passing center of vibrant markets bustling with locals and tourists alike, his mind drifting to a fervent promise he made back home, vowing to confirm Britt's safety amid rumors of her improbable survival that have circulated through underground networks ever since her presumed demise shook the medical community and her loved ones like her mother Liesel Obrecht. As the screen flashes with the tantalizing title The Reunion, the mystery deepens with Vaughn's puzzled inquiry to Jocelyn about an unidentified woman's identity, his voice laced with the caution of a man who's danced on the edge of danger in countless WSB assignments, from busting international syndicates to protecting assets in volatile regions. The scene cuts to Britt, her laughter echoing lightly as she lounges by a sparkling infinity pool overlooking the Adriatic Sea, where Vaughn playfully applies sunscreen to her back, their easy camaraderie hinting at a partnership forged in the fires of mutual survival. After Britt's fake death allowed her to escape old enemies like the Casaginis, Jocelyn, stealthily approaching through palm-fringed pathways lined with exotic flowers and the distant call of seabirds, halts abruptly, her eyes widening in disbelief at the sight of Britt's familiar features, alive and vibrant against all odds, a vision that dredges up memories of Britt's complex Port Charles legacy, involving romantic triangles and life-saving procedures at General Hospital. In a hushed revelation that sends shockwaves through the mission, Jocelyn confides to Vaughn that Britt was declared dead years ago, her passing marked by a somber funeral attended by grieving colleagues and family, complete with eulogies highlighting her growth from a scheming outsider to a beloved doctor, whose final days were spent thwarting a bioterror threat. This bombshell forces Jocelyn to compartmentalize her astonishment swiftly, her training as a budding agent bolstered by guidance from mentors like Anna Devan reminding her that distractions could jeopardize their objective to dismantle a criminal ring, operating under the guise of luxury tourism, even as Jack Brennan back in Port Charles downplays the risks with his characteristic nonchalance, insisting Jocelyn's cover as a resort guest is ironclad amid the opulent spas and yacht-filled marinas. The young operative must steel herself for the unexpected, drawing on her resilience from past traumas like the loss of her brother Oscar Nero and her mother's brushes with danger. The spoilers ramp up the intensity as Jocelyn navigates the resort's elegant corridors, adorned with intricate mosaics and the faint scent of sea salt mingled with gourmet cuisine, wafting from nearby kitchens, only to stumble upon a life-or-death struggle in a dimly lit suite overlooking terraced vineyards. There, she witnesses a menacing assailant, perhaps a hired thug with ties to a rival espionage faction, his muscular build suggesting a background in Black Ops enforcement locked in a vicious chokehold around Vaughn's neck, the agent's face contorting in a desperate fight for air as veins bulge and shadows play across the room's ornate furnishings. The attacker, sensing an intruder but refusing to release his grip, pivots slowly to confront Jocelyn, his cold stare meeting her determined gaze, prompting her to whip out her concealed firearm with the precision of someone who's practiced in hidden ranges back home, her finger hovering on the trigger ready to unleash a shot that could echo through the halls. And alert guards patrolling the perimeter. Shifting to another layer of intrigue, Jason engages in a seemingly casual conversation with the suave Pascal, a resort manager whose polished demeanor conceals a web of illicit dealings, involving smuggled artifacts and encrypted communications that have drawn WSB scrutiny for months. Their chat, set in a lavish lounge with crystal chandeliers casting warm glows over antique maps and leather-bound ledgers, is interrupted by Britt's entrance, her composed stride belying the storm of emotions as she locks eyes with Jason, the air thickening with unspoken history from their shared Port Charles adventures, including tense alliances during hospital crises and mutual friends like the Quartermains. Jason, ever the master of deception from his days evading mob hits and international pursuits, must feign ignorance, masking any flicker of recognition while subtly assessing the situation, his mind racing through strategies to extract information without blowing his cover. Amid the resort's elite clientele sipping fine wines, Jason's primary objectives crystallize in this charged moment. First, to unravel the enigma of Britt's apparent resurrection, probing for clues about whether it was a voluntary disappearance to evade threats from her family's criminal past or a forced captivity by shadowy figures like Pascal's syndicate, which might involve coerced medical expertise for their operations. Then, prioritizing her rescue, drawing on his arsenal of skills from stealth infiltrations to high-speed getaways, all while coordinating with distant allies like Spinelli for tech support. However, the preview hints at complications, with Jocelyn's voiceover expressing raw frustration over Britt's survival, her tone laced with betrayal that stems from the emotional toll of mourning a friend thought lost forever, potentially straining their alliance as personal feelings clash with mission imperatives. In this foreign land of hidden coves and ancient ruins, don't miss these gripping episodes of General Hospital, where secrets surface and heroes clash in a bid for truth and survival.